When I first heard Destiny 2 was going to have a PC launch, I immediately started learning mouse and keyboard, and as I become more accustomed to it, I plug the controller in less and less. Don't get me wrong, I definitely think there's still pros and cons to each respective input device, but to me personally, I prefer using mouse and keyboard over controller. That means that whenever I plug a controller in, it's that much more refreshing, because it's a change of pace. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how, although my input device changes, my sniper preferences really don't, with the exception of one particular sniper. On a typical day of mouse and keyboard, you'll see me using the Last Word or Antiope with either Tatara Gaze or Twilight Oath, and then you'll also see me using Fighting Lion plus Provoker or Supremacy. When it comes to using the last word and a snipe on each respective input device, I find it far easier to use on mouse and keyboard. And this is because the recoil, it seems, on mouse and keyboard is a lot less. The effort level of controlling the recoil on mouse and keyboard is a lot less. So whenever I plug in a controller and I'm on PC, I would rather just be on mouse and keyboard. But of course, if I'm on a console and everybody else have to play by the same rules, last word and the snipe is still one of the best. Now, whenever I use Snipe in Fighting Lion, of course, I also prefer to use it on mouse and keyboard, but for a different reason. It's because whenever I shoot the Fighting Lion, I have to commit to getting a cleanup kill with my snipe, and if that's not possible, I need to ditch immediately. So on mouse and keyboard, what I can do is just flick 180 degrees, turn around, and sprint, but on my controller, on 3 sensitivity, there's no way I can spin my character fast enough to get out of danger. So I sort of have to commit to the fight, which is okay in team scenarios, but whenever I'm just messing around in solo queue, I would much rather be on mouse and keyboard so I can save myself. So at some point in this gameplay, you'll see me switch from Fighting Lion and Supremacy to a Better Devils and a Borealis, because I wanted to use my primary a little bit more since I felt that Fighting Lion just wasn't doing the trick. I felt like once I fired it, the downtime between the reload and next shot was a little too much and I was getting punished for it. Also, yes, you heard that right. I said a Borealis. When's the last time you heard of that gun? What's strange though is I can't exactly put my finger on why I prefer using Borealis with a controller, but not necessarily with M&K. Like, I could definitely make it work on mouse and keyboard, but on a controller, it just feels so free. And I looked up the stats. It's definitely not the aim assist stat because the Supremacy and my Twilight Oath have higher aim assist, but Borealis just feels that much stickier. I really don't know what it is. Also unrelated, but I'm going to unmute the background gameplay for just a second. Okay, I wasted 1/10 of his super. Why is that okay? I even headshot it! And he kills the teammate, so I have no chance of killing him. Yeah, Striker Titan's such a fun super for quick play. Anyhow, it doesn't really matter if I know the reason as to why Borealis works so well with me using a controller. I'm just not going to question it. If it works, and you'll see me switch to it very shortly in the background gameplay. A question I get in the YouTube comment section, I'll probably get it on this video, and as well as in my Twitch chat, is, hey Cammy, what's the best sniper rifle to use? And I always give this like really basic answer. The best sniper is the one you hit your shots with. For me, that happens to be Borealis, so again, I'm just not going to question it. Since this video is about my favorite sniper on a controller, I might as well tell you about my impressions of Borealis. Before Tatara Gaze existed, this was the only high-impact sniper rifle in the energy slot. What a high-impact sniper allows you to do is, of course, clean up with a body shot on weapons that you otherwise would need a headshot, or clean up with a headshot in weapons that would otherwise not clean up at all. Since the Borealis is an exotic, you can't actually pair the last word with it, so on close range maps, I like pairing it with an SMG, and on longer maps, I like pairing it with a service revolver. In this background gameplay, I am using a explosive round rangefinder Better Devils with this, but I do think that service revolver is the superior option for 2 reasons. For me personally, it's because it cleans up the snipe very well and gives me a kill clip with a very speedy time to kill with that 3-tap. The fact that 180 RPM hand cannons are usable on controller is just a bonus. I would be using Service Revolver with Borealis regardless of if I'm on mouse and keyboard or controller. In a quick play setting, you can absolutely make the Borealis perk work for you. For those who don't know how Borealis works, if you shoot a super with the corresponding element, so for example, if a Striker Titan is killing your team 10 times over and you're on the arc element of the Borealis by just holding reload to switch to it, you get an ionic return round, and this does extra damage. If you pair this with an empowering rift, you can actually body shot people in the Crucible, which is hilarious. Unfortunately, the ionic return doesn't last forever. If you shoot the entire magazine and reload, you lose the ionic return. However, if you're using the transversive step boots on your Warlock and you sprint to reload, it will keep the ionic return and reload your weapon. So basically, when supers come up, if you tag somebody with the corresponding element and get ionic return and use empowering rift with the stag to body shot people, and then when you have to reload, switch to transversive steps to reload and keep your ionic trace, then that means you can body shot forever. Well, regardless of if you can make that niche scenario happen or not, the Borealis at its base form is just a headshot magnet, so I don't even feel that I need to take advantage of ionic return to make it worth my exotic slot, because again, at the end of the day, if I'm hitting shots, who cares? As you can probably imagine, when cross-save comes to Destiny 2 in Shadowkeep, I'm going to be using my main account with this exact loadout whenever I happen to hop back on console. It's going to be glorious. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers then, they changed the damage reduction and maybe strength/frequency of supers by then. Maybe sniper rifles will kill in a headshot, and if that's the case, Borealis just got a giant buff, because now you can kill supers outright if you match the corresponding element, and then body shot people with an empowering rift. Until we actually see it though, I can just dream. I hope you enjoyed this video that maybe discusses my preferences of mouse and keyboard and controller with the corresponding sniper rifles and loadouts that goes along with those pros and cons. As usual, thanks for checking out my channel, and it seems that the reception to these daily videos has been pretty great, so I really appreciate that. Take care, guys.
Oh, he's done. I can run away now. Oh no, he's living. What is this nonsense? Oh, he didn't die. Well, she still didn't die. I think I'm saving this one, I hate to say. You guys are going to be like highly entertained by this as background footage, mostly because of the striker.